So this is a step-by-step review. I'm joined by Charlie and Dave again, even though Charlie had nothing to do with this episode.
No, I didn't.
But since there's a little bit of lag time before anything worth commentating on happens, I thought we'd comment on the intros for Channel Awesome, which are not included on these commentaries, but
Twitch.
the ones that were on the Ferris wheel, specifically Mickey's Fun Wheel.
I think they were kind of my fault. I think I jokingly suggested doing the intros as like a clip show flashback intro.
Twitch.
I remember it being my idea, but
it might have been
it was
yours.
one of our ideas. But
Twitch.
But we did it on your birthday, Charlie.
Yeah, we did it on my 28th birthday. Mm-hmm. And we were going to the park anyway, just because, screw it, it's my birthday.
Right.
I'm going to go anyway.
Exactly.
And we immediately make a beeline for DCA, specifically Paradise Pier, even more specifically Mickey's Fun Wheel.
And didn't we ride it like 4 or 5 times?
Four times in a row,
yeah.
And the first couple of times it was a walk-on, but right after that, it started getting a line. And that's when a cast member noticed that we were just continuously getting on. And they were like, you know what, you can come this way. And we actually got like glares from people at the front of the line, like, are you kidding me? We've been waiting here for 10 minutes trying to get on this ride. I'm like,
this. By the way, this popcorn shot was shot at my dad's house. I'd just quickly say that. So anyway, and I remember the shot list I had because I wanted to get. I wanted each intro to be consistently at the same stop on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
And we had this insanely detailed shot list, and Haley was there as our script supervisor, basically saying, "Okay, we're stopped. We've only got a few seconds. Okay, you say this, you say that. And
yeah, exactly.
And it was very it was very touch and go and very all cobbled
shot
together.
Reverse shot,
exactly.
3 different angles were used, obviously.
And but we got them, and we got all the intros we needed, and we only had to ride it 4 times.
This is probably my favorite joke in here.
By the way, that roller coaster is very close to the beach. If they want to sell that, like what happens when the tide comes in?
Exactly.
Well, and now my car is underwater when I park for Magic Mountain.
Exactly, and forget. I mean, and yeah, in real life, the I-5 is where the ocean is, and by the way, the I-5 is east of Magic Mountain, so that's not just flooded. It's flooded from the other side that the ocean is.
The Atlantic Ocean.
It really is. The Atlantic Ocean has gotten as far as fucking Valencia, California. So yeah, it really is the apocalypse.
At least DC's underwater.
To be fair, Magic Mountain is already the apocalypse.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
They have a ride called Apocalypse there.
Now, this is probably my dad's favorite episode of Some Jerk with the Camera.
It might be mine too. Just I think it might be the most consistently funny of all of them.
I remember after you released this episode, my dad said to me, watching that episode, I realized we used to watch Step by Step weekly. I completely forgot it existed until seeing the footage in this episode.
And by far, the question I have been asked most is, holy shit, there's a Power Ranger thing at Disney World? Where is it? And
there are a total of 2 Power Ranger costumes from the Power Ranger movie in a licensed Planet Hollywood gift shop.
No, that was at Disney Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, it's a licensed Planet Hollywood
it's a
gift
Planet
shop.
Hollywood themed gift
that's
shop
right,
inside
that's
Hollywood
right.
Studios. And it's,
at least it was. I don't know if it is still there.
At that time, yeah. And like Power Rangers used to have an actual presence at Disney World. This was after that. They had a meet and greet presence.
Disney used to have the American rights to Power Rangers for a while.
After Saban, yes.
Yeah, they'd air them on Disney XD all the time. And yeah, I just figured, I'm talking about cheesy stuff, so I may as well be in front of a Power Ranger suit. Why not? And and so many people have asked me about that. It's ridiculous.
This Carol rant is also specifically my dad's favorite part of this episode.
And again, evidenced by the fact that it's in California. I came up with it long after I shot the first draft of it. And coming up, oh boy, this was before I joined Channel Awesome, obviously, and I don't know if Doug ever saw this or if he did, what he thinks of it. I included it as part of the Channel Awesome trailer, so I imagine he might have seen it in that context at least. But Yeah, but, I'm sure he took it in good humor.
Now, I should say my memories of Step by Step from childhood mostly involve the opening credits and the I-5 being flooded.
Yes.
And I also remember the image of when Urkel crashed through their living room.
That's right. Yeah, that was one of the biggest seminal moments. That and Urkel coming to Full House was one of the...
Because of the
shared... I mean, it's only the tip of the Tommy Westfall iceberg, obviously.
The shared TGIF universe, which, since it also has Sabrina the Teenage Witch, shouldn't it also include the rest of the Archie comics universe?
Yes.
What I'm saying is...
does that include the new Riverdale's TV series that's now...
What I'm saying is, did Jesse and the Rippers ever open for Josie and the Pussycats?
You know what? Yes, I'm going to say yes to that question.
Thank you. That's all I needed a ruling on. I can go.
By the way, I called this baby a bastard when I later found out that's actually a girl character, but what are you going to do? This, I kind of wish I had cut. I think it would have been a stronger joke if I just cut to, if it just cut from them talking sexily to Disney World where your parents have sex.
See, but then you wouldn't have been so prophetic with your what the hell is blip joke.
Yeah, but, people... But it's too prophetic now. It's not even, Blip, by the way, used to be our platform, and it used to have a whole lot of Disney park commercials.
Oh,
which I make fun of a lot in this retrospective.
I don't think Blip ever had more than 5 sponsors in a single moment.
America.
But
that was another big one.
But the only third thing I remember from Step by Step was catching the tail end of the Disney World episode once and thinking, wait, I thought Full House did the Disney World episode. I had no idea how deep this thing went.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the Panetta's rant here.
It's like I at first I just thought, oh, Panetta's, that must be just a restaurant, because I'd only been to Disney World maybe like 3 or 4 times at that point. I was like, I haven't been to every restaurant there. It's like, but I looked it up, no Panetta's anywhere at Disney World, and yes, the only Panetta's is in Baton Rouge, and we'll talk about this on another commentary, but I've actually since eaten at Panetta's in Baton Rouge, and it's pretty good. I recommend it if you're in Baton Rouge.
My theory about this is that no one Disney World restaurant wanted to be portrayed as the expensive one.
Well, then who do you think you're fooling in that regard? I mean, and by the way, that is actually a real restaurant on Disney property. It's on Downtown Disney. At the time, I believe it was called the Portobello Yacht Club, and now I think it's just called Portobello. And I actually found that out while I was editing, and I briefly considered, like, maybe throwing in a Bedknobs and Broomsticks reference, like,
Portobello,
you can eat like a king in the Portobello Yacht Club, or something. But that would have negated all the jokes I had about Panetta's not even existing, and I like those jokes too much to do that. And one of my favorite jokes ever, what you do instead of things.
One of your most accurate jokes.
Yeah, indeed. And
you also had the rant about Jason Marsden's career there.
Yeah, and I do feel bad about making fun of the fact that other guy did in fact get shot in both arms over a traffic incident. Someone actually once gave me shit about that, like I was exploiting his tragedy or something, but that wasn't even really the crux of the joke. It was more that it was a piece of trivia that, unless you knew the guy, you would only have learned from reading his trivia page on IMDb.
I'd also just like to point out, though, that Jason Marsden played different characters in most TGIF shows.
That's true.
So he's the Stan Lee of this connected universe.
Exactly.
And later on in this very episode, you have sympathy for a cast member that died.
That's true. I think that, well...
That was another one I actually remember you asking us how far...
We'll get to that when we get to that. But,
we'll get to that.
Yeah, there were literally this many, and all of them in part 1. And I noticed, by the way, that part 1 and part 2 of the step-by-step episodes had different writers. So I wonder if the writer of part... Well, obviously, on sitcoms it's all the writer's room and all that, but it's whoever's assigned to them. But I wonder if if the writer of part 1 just either doesn't remember being a teenager or just was a really dumb teenager who literally did only think about his dick all the time and just thinks that's how all teenagers are at all times. And I love this my one regret is I wish I'd worn like a trucker flannel vest for that to really sell the redneck angle, but Yeah, that was a weird thing to be doing at the Mater meet and greet, which is this thing you gotta wait in line for at DCA and all that.
Yeah.
It was
This was before you had the proud American no mash costume. all set, so.
And I assumed, well, I'll be able to buy something like that when I get to Cars Land, and I kind of could have, but it was really expensive, so yeah, screw it. But yeah, the hee-haw joke, I just love it. It still cracks me up every time. As does this joke coming up here, the Urkel Love and Heart callback. The fucking...
I've just found the name of my new cover band.
I believe Stefan Krosets did that Photoshop of Hitler's maw on my face and all, and the queen crown and all that. But yeah.
Stage all by her lonesome.
Now this sequence I remember as being the sequence that broke my laptop, because I made the mistake of putting all the ABC episodes on the same timeline. In the same Premiere project, and it just became too much for it at one point. I remember this, I had to edit this a second time because I guess I didn't quite know how autosave worked at the time, and it just I edited it and then it crashed and I lost the whole sequence and had to do it again.
You're welcome.
What are you gonna do?
Console her and they make up and sing together to an audience.
Well, at least the sisters made up.
Yeah, and this doesn't quite work because it's more like just that they're out of sync.
Yeah.
But you know, I whatever. It worked. If it doesn't work, the joke is over and done quickly enough.
Good enough for internet reviews.
And this is something I used to do back when I actually had ad breaks on Blip, guaranteed ad breaks, because on YouTube it's all over the place whether you're ever even going to get an ad. But I used to always say, well, and on Blip you always got 2 ads in each break, so I was like, oh, I'll make fun of that with
Technically you have 2 ads
you have
here.
2
And
commercials
by the way, for a show that was, by all accounts, the Patrick Duffy Suzanne Summers show, they are barely in the Disney World episode. Like, they have their own the It's a Small World TV series, which briefly a trailer was released, and I don't think anything else came of it.
I never heard of
I guess
anything
me
happening.
blowing it up worked.
Yeah.
I just read that it was probably a web series somewhere on its YouTube
something
channel.
like that.
It was probably on some app.
Now, this Flash character is interesting. I call him a Crispin Glover wannabe because he kind of looks like him and he really sounds like him.
Yeah.
But apparently, like, the dumb neighbor character they had on the show left the show very shortly before the Disney World episode, and this Flash character was an attempt to replace him with a different kind of character. And literally... And literally, I looked it up. This character only appears in this episode and one other. And at the end, when he's running down Main Street, like, they treat him like the main character of the show, and he's only in...
They treat him like he's the Urkel.
Yeah, exactly. And they were clearly looking for a new Urkel, and or at least a replacement to the previous dumb neighbor. And you can kind of tell this was written for the dumb neighbor, but then he left the show. And this is a real song of mine that you can buy on iTunes. This track counts for community service off the album that I released in 2009 under the name Flying Like Wilma for reasons I'd rather not get into. And and this was shot at Red Rooster Studios in Berkeley, California, where I have recorded all of my albums since 2001, run by a very good guy named Garth Weber out of his basement. So
Very cool.
Very cool indeed. Now I say in this montage that I don't like sitting around. That has changed since I've put on more and more weight over the years. Nowadays I do kind of have to sit around whenever I'm at the park for quite a bit, but maybe I'll lose the weight someday. Who knows?
There's a lot to deconstruct about the subplot of how completely non-strategic he's being about the order of attractions.
Yeah, he's all over the place here. I mean,
like you cover it a little bit when you talk about the no parade route in Tomorrowland stuff.
Yeah,
but,
which is like, did the writers not bother to look at a map of the park they're ostensibly promoting here?
This was the one other piece of imagery I remembered from Step by Step as a kid, was that the kid from Beethoven played one of the brothers.
Oh my God,
God,
kid
that
from
is
Beethoven.
him.
Holy crap! Yeah,
Cinematic blue pill.
indeed. And Dave, this is you holding the gun in this shot. And by the way, except for the intro, which we shot like a year or two later, This is one of the only Some Jerk episodes I've ever done with no cameos at all from anyone.
Just my hand.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to see if I could do it, and I did it, and it's one of my best, and it's one of my best episodes ever. So maybe I should just stop using you people altogether.
You're just trying to see if you could get through an episode without making somebody else dance.
Yes. And remember when Russian espionage was a joke? Simpler times.
Remember when it was funny because it wasn't topical?
Yeah. Right. Well, nowadays you'd have to make it topical and tie it into, and that might even make for funnier jokes, but But then you'd be. It's one of those things where you're laughing so you don't have to cry, and then
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus God. I don't know where I think I'll go fall down came from, but it's one of those things that's been jostling around in my head for a while, and I finally got to use it in something. And what I love about the Shia LaBeouf joke, I don't think I executed it as well as I could have, but what I love about it is that wasn't Shia LaBeouf. But it's plausible that it could have been, because he was actually a child actor at the time this episode was being done. So it's very plausible that he at least could have auditioned for this. And here comes my no montage, which of course I uploaded as its own separate video on YouTube. And
that was before you were posting the full episodes to YouTube.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And I don't know why I included the Nostalgia Critic in between the Lucasfilm. I think it's because it's from his Drop Dead Fred episode where the joke is he's just saying no over and over again, and I wanted to include the audio from it all throughout this thing. But yeah, it does kind of throw up, because I am kind of thematically grouping these no's, I'm grouping all the Mel Brooks films together and the Tarantino films together. I probably should have randomized it a bit more, but it's fun. I like it the way it is.
I also enjoy the music selections going on.
Yes. By the way, Step by Step and Family Matters, at the time I was putting these together, were the only two episodes not available on DVD. And I already described in the Family Matters episode how someone had to send me a clip of that they torrented, and then I taped it off BET. But Step by Step, the entire episode in little 2 or 3 minute chunks, was available on a site called, I believe, DisneyPix.com. And last I checked, it's still there, and you can still download this episode. The lawyers have not taken that down, so thank God for late 90s internet.
So it's a wonderfully forgettable way to spend an hour.
Exactly. And but like the logo says, it's the ABC Family cut, so I don't know what they cut for syndication. I still haven't seen this.
They cut the memorable
episode.
parts.
Probably, yeah. And so here's the bit we were talking about the Indiana Jones death. What did you want to say about that?
Well, I remember you coming to us at the time wondering if it was crossing a line to talk about a real death in the comedy show.
Well, I remember to emphasize. Well, I wasn't sure how to word it, because I wanted to make sure I wasn't attacking Disney for letting a dude die, even though. Yeah, I think ultimately I came up with an elegant solution, which was to stress that, no, this place went 20 years before its first and only fatal accident, and that's a testament to Disney's safety concerns.
Oh, absolutely.
That it took that long. And because it is a dangerous job, but it's people who willingly throw themselves into danger, who love doing it. That's what a stunt person is. And but I remember at originally I went even further with my evidence of it, and I actually played a clip from the 911 call. And then I realized, what the hell am I doing? This is supposed to be a comedy show. No, cut. And that UHF reference, I don't know how many people got that, but it was...
Yeah, because that follows, immediately the Indiana Jones opening.
Parody scene.
Now, this I Love Lucy shot at Universal Studios Florida, the first day you and I had ever met.
Yeah, it was. And we shot a few other things that day, including the Drew Barrymore shot.
Yes.
Okay, never mind, I'm good.
That was the last shot we got that day.
And yes, and this is the same actor who played the cast member, and I'm pretty sure he was a real cast member at the time who just worked at Tower of Terror and had the perfect look for it. What were we talking about?
Dead people.
Yeah, dead people. Whatever. Dead people are dead.
Now, as you talk about here, we talked about how poorly strategized Flash's plan to get all the attractions are. What could there possibly have been left in Magic Kingdom for him to do?
And it's a good thing he packed this America jacket here, because he didn't know about the thing until he got there. And it's a good thing that Disney was able to rope everything. Those flags were kind of a cumbersome, and I literally brought them just for that joke. And I had to pack them in my bag, and they were poking out of my carry-on bag the whole trip, and it was...
Okay, so the main cast is on stage in front of the crowd, but they're not the ones being drawn attention to.
Exactly. And I have to wonder how many of that crowd, was like, who the hell is Flash? Even those who watch... And, oh, by the way, I just remembered, I was at Disney World when they were shooting Step by Step. I took a trip there in '96 with my grandmother. I only briefly mention it in this video, but there's one scene in the episode where they all watch Illuminations at Epcot. And when my grandma and I were walking through World Showcase one night, we saw a huge crowd of people and cameras and everything. And we asked someone, what's this about? And they said, oh, we're shooting an episode of Step by Step here at Disney World. If you guys want, you can be extras in it. And we briefly considered it, but being extras would have required us to stay in that one spot for like 2 hours. And I think we had dinner reservations or something, so we didn't want to, spend that much park time doing that one thing. In retrospect, I wish we'd have done that, because I could have pointed that out in the...
You could have done a whole joke about, like, I was in this and I don't remember it.
Exactly. And, of course, Never-Ending Story 2.
The most obscure reference you've made.
If you've seen... I actually saw that in theaters only because there was a Bugs Bunny cartoon attached to it, but if
was that the one with the theater?
Yes, Box Office Bunny.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that one. And there's Panetta's.
There's Panetta's, and
you ate there like right before mine and Haley's wedding.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I'll talk about that on a future commentary because I got the shot for it as well. But that is Step by Step, and that just flew by. So we'll join you tomorrow for Boy Meets World.
Wait, what was Step by Step?
What's a step?
What's a bi?
I think it's someone who's into both genders.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right. Support your local buys, people.
Step, gay, step.
How did you people get into my home?
Who are you?